Hello, I'm Sean Stewart. What would you say if I could show you a way that you could save up to 90% on America's favorite protein just by making a wise purchase decision and learning a valuable new skill? Would you be interested in that? Well, in fact, today I'm going to show you how you can take a whole chicken, this is a fryer, and cut it up into its constituent parts, which are the legs and thighs, the wings, and the breasts. You can save a lot of money, and you can have some really good eating. You know, my mom taught me these skills when I was fairly young, and they've really helped me manage my own food budget over the years. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we want to do is we want to remove the leg and thigh. So what we want to do is we want to get as close to the body and just kind of nick the skin a little bit and actually pull back on the leg and thigh so that we can get a clear path to be able to remove it from the chicken. Now, you know, the leg and thigh is one of the most popular parts of the chicken. So what we're going to do next is we're going to pop this out. You can see right there we've popped out the thigh bone, and that will allow us then to just easily cut using a little bit of gravity, and here we go. We have our nice leg and thigh. We'll come back to that in just a moment. So again, remember this is a chicken, it's a symmetrical bird, so we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're just going to nick a little bit of the skin so that we can have it pull away from the body. Then we're going to reach in. Once we make sure we have our cut there, we're going to reach in and we're going to pop out the thigh bone, and then we're going to use gravity and our well-sharpened knife to just help us to remove this piece from the chicken. Come over on the other side here, and lo and behold, we have a very nice thigh and leg. I'm going to set the big part of the bird aside. Now, who remembers what this part of the chicken is called? Well, of course, it's called the drumstick. It's the part that most kids really like, and what we need to be able to do now is we need to be able to separate the leg or drumstick from the thigh. And there's actually a line of fat that we can follow to do that. So we just cut straight down carefully to separate out the thigh from the leg. So here we have our leg, our drumstick. We'll set that aside. And here we have our chicken thigh. Now we need to do the same thing on the other side. So again, we take a look and try and figure out where the joint is by following the fat line. We should be able to just cut down fairly easily if you have a sharp enough knife to separate out the drumstick from the chicken thigh. All right, the next thing that we want to do is we want to remove the wings. Now, you know, the wings used to be considered kind of a wasted part of the chicken, but they've become popular over the years with the idea of buffalo chicken wings. So what we need to do is find where the joint is and then just cut down with our knife. Sometimes it's a little more difficult than you want, so we'll have gravity help us a little bit. And we'll just cut down to separate out the wing. There we go. Now the other thing is on the wing, there's just kind of this little wasted part right here, and you can just take this opportunity to just cut that off. Save that along with some other parts because you can use that to make chicken stock, which is of course something that you can use to make chicken soup. And you know, you can hear I kind of have a little bit of a cold, so some chicken soup might be pretty handy. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side here. We're going to just find out where the joint is, and then we're going to use our knife and separate out. And sometimes it's a little tough, so use a little bit of gravity to help you out. There we go. And again, we want to get rid of the wasted wing tip. Not really good eating, but it's good for making soup. So now we have our 2 chicken wings. Now the last part of this is that we want to do the breast, but first what we need to do is we need to separate out the back, because that's not something that people typically eat. One way to do that is to actually use a pair of kitchen shears to remove the back, and you can just cut right along up toward the neck, and then of course you do the same thing on the other side. So at that point you can use this back for some stock, for some tasty soup. Now the last part of the chicken here, we're going to trim off a little excess fat that they've left us. The last part of the chicken is one of people's favorites, and it's the breasts. Now there's a breastbone under here, and if we were to try and cut down, our knife might run into it. So we can actually remove the breastbone in advance instead of having this issue of cutting it. So the first thing we want to do is we want to cut a little bit through the cartilage, the soft part of the chicken that's just on top, and then we can actually see the breastbone will pop out. It becomes visible. Then we can go down with our thumbs on either side of the breastbone, which will actually allow us to remove the breastbone from the chicken. Then it won't be an issue when we want to use our knife on the other side. So here we go with our breastbone. So we've removed that from the chicken. Now we can turn the chicken back over. We're going to trim off just a little bit of this excess fat and skin. You know, people used to say the skin was the best part of the chicken, but in today's calorie-conscious age, in fact, many people don't eat the skin. And now we have our breasts, and we can just quite easily use our knife to just cut right down since we've removed the breastbone. And you decide whether you want to leave the skin on or not. But what you end up with is two lovely chicken breasts. So today, I've shown you how you can take a whole chicken and divide it up into its constituent parts, the legs or drumsticks and thighs, the wings, and the breasts. And in so doing, the price of chicken parts, if you buy them in packages versus a whole chicken, you can actually save up to 90% of the cost on a per pound basis by doing this. And you know, when you're doing that, and you can spend some time imagining how you might apply your savings. But just be careful, because you know, you don't want to slip and cut yourself with your knife, because you don't want your savings to all be used up at the hospital. Thanks very much for listening. Have a great day.